I've been in sales for 17 years. Today, I'm the VP of sales at a $20 billion software company based out of Miami. In this video, I'm gonna condense the last 17 years of sales knowledge into 8 simple steps. By the end of this video, you're gonna know exactly how to sell and how to make selling way more simple. So let's start off with lesson number 1. Sales is easy. Before you start, hit me with the negative comments in the comment section. Think about it. When you go to a doctor, how hard does a doctor have to try to get you to pay for your prescription or to pay for your appointment? In reality, if you're going to the doctor, it's because you have a pain and he can solve it. He doesn't have to say, would you be interested? Would you might? No, I can give you a perfect example of this. My son went to the doctor with a stomach ache. Do you think I was haggling the doctor about how to solve it? It ended up being appendicitis. He had to get a whole surgery. They sent me a bill. I'm sure it cost thousands of dollars. You better believe I gladly paid it. The point is, selling is simple as long as you've got something valuable, as long as you're solving a problem. Here's the beauty of it. If you solve a small problem, you'll make a small amount of money. If you solve big problems, you get paid big money, and it doesn't need to have all this friction. People will pay you to solve problems. As long as you're solving a big enough problem, they have no problem paying you the money. If you're gonna solve small problems, think about Jeff Bezos. You start off selling books, $8, $9, but if you solve enough small problems for millions of people, you'll still make a lot of money. So first things, as long as you got something valuable, sales is simple. Lesson number 2, curiosity is king. Ask questions similar to the way that a doctor does. When you go to the doctor and you say, hey, I've got a certain pain, my leg is killing me, what do they ask you? They'll ask you, okay, so how long have you been dealing with this? A how question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much would you say the pain is bothering you? They ask you a lot of what, how, and maybe why questions. All questions to get you speaking so they can learn more about your problem. You must do the same thing for your potential customers. How, why, and what. The more you learn about their pain, the more you dig into it and the implications of whatever problem it is that they're dealing with, the much likelier it is that they actually say yes to you when you present your offer. That's right, sell like a doctor. Doctors aren't pushy. If you can make your messaging simple and understand your problem well enough, by simply asking those questions, it's gonna make it very easy for you to present value. Seek to help, and it removes all the awkwardness of sales. One of the biggest reasons people don't like salespeople is because a lot of bad salespeople, and I would say most salespeople in general, are only in it for themselves. They don't actually care to help someone. If, however, you're dealing with someone who actually cares to help you solve a problem, it changes everything. It doesn't matter what you're selling. You could be selling cars, you could be selling software. Think about what it is that your customer actually wants. Do they want a new car because they want to get their kid a graduation gift that they'll be safe in? Do they want to go on a vacation? Maybe you sell vacations. Why are we going on vacation? How long do you want to go? Why is it so important that you go on this vacation? What's got you looking at Hawaii? Get into the why, get into the what, ask those open-ended questions, and actually seek to help them facilitate what it is that they're looking to solve for. So, seeking to help changes everything. If at any point during any sort of sale, you feel like you're convincing someone to do something, you messed up somewhere. The entire transaction, if you've wired your brain and your heart, whatever you gotta call it, if you've wired yourself that way to where you're actually looking to help people, your customers will see it. And the beauty of it is, people can tell when you're being genuine. When you're being disingenuine, and my uncle calls it commission breath is all over you, they can hear that you want a commission. They're gonna try to get rid of you and feed you lies and just say, nah, I'm not interested. But who's not interested in getting help with something that they actually want help with? That is the key to unlocking sales and making it more simple and reducing the friction. Eliminate the awkwardness by actually being a good person and seeking to help them solve a problem. Lesson number 4. People buy for the payoff, not for your features. This is really important. Maybe you're selling a service today. Maybe you're selling a software. Maybe you're selling a car. Understand that people aren't buying for the different features. People don't buy a car because it's got like this crazy V8 engine because you got some cool special button. People don't buy the features, they buy the payoff. What's the payoff? They buy their desired outcome. My team and I sell cybersecurity. People don't buy cybersecurity for the features and the tool sets and the button on this side of the page. They buy it because they want to feel safe. They want to make sure their business is protected from the bad guys. So understand, you can't spend the entire time talking about the details and the technical features. You've got to spend time talking about their desired outcome and understanding what that outcome is. And once you've got a concept of what that desired income, then fine, you can attach those features. Hey, we have this feature that will help protect your company in case of X type of attack. That's one example. But the point is, get out of the technical weeds, whatever it is that you're selling. Maybe you're selling a cleaning service. It doesn't matter what kind of products you're using. I mean, it does matter, but the customer doesn't care about the nitty-gritty details. They want to know, is my house going to smell good? Is my kitchen going to look incredible at the end of this thing? They're buying the desired outcome. And it's really interesting because some people are very, very technical, whether it be in cybersecurity, whether it be even in cleaning. Like, there's some people who really know their stuff about how to get certain stains out. Like, there's different levels to every sort of thing that you sell. But would you believe that it's not the most technical people who sell the best? It's in fact the opposite. Even me. It's funny enough, I sell cybersecurity and IT software. I'm not an IT technician. I used to sell cars before this. So I'm not a really technical guy, but what I realize is it doesn't require being technical as long as you understand what your customer's desired outcome is and can solve for that. Lesson number 5, use a system. Random activity will yield you random results. So however or whatever it is that you're selling, make sure that you're using the same system over and over and over again so you can get predictable results. Random activity will yield you random results. So what do I mean by use a system? First, like, have a series of questions that you ask every customer or every potential customer. Write them down. Notice the answers. If you get valuable information from it, keep using them over and over again. Find a system, use it. Because if you're just asking random questions, shooting from the hip, thinking off the top of your head, you're gonna get random results, and usually random results are not good. So you wanna really think about your sales process. Whatever it is that you're selling, it could be the most simple thing, whether it be a book club, whether you sell cleaning services or IT products. Have a system that you use every single time and then iterate and make it better over time. But if you're just random shooting from the hip, you're not going to get the results that you want. You want to be prepared with every single conversation. It goes a long way with your customers to be professional and be prepared. So use a system. If you don't have a system, let me know in the comments, and I actually have a blueprint system that you can use to ask questions no matter what it is that you're selling, whether it be a product, service, or anything else. So if you want that, comment system in the comments and I'm happy to share that. Lesson number 6, ask the hard question and eventually it becomes easy. When I say hard questions, here's what I mean by that. It's quite simple. One of the hardest questions to ask someone, can you sign here? What do I mean by that? It's simple. Asking for the signature. And it's not a convincing sort of question. You say, hey, based on what we talked about today, is there anything keeping you from finalizing this transaction now? And you shut up, you listen, you take notes. Right? Those are some of the questions that people will consider hard questions because they feel like a little uncomfortable and it makes them nervous because they're afraid of the word no. So what I'm here to tell you is the more repetition you get in asking those sort of questions, the easier it becomes and it becomes less awkward. The challenge for you is make sure you're not just practicing on people. If you're thinking about selling anything, you're not used to sales, you don't have a sales background, I'll tell you what I did. I was awful in the beginning, but something I did to give myself an advantage, I would practice asking these questions in the mirror, and eventually it became natural. It didn't feel uncomfortable. I was able to use my own voice, and it made my customers feel more comfortable as well because it was a natural question and necessary, right? Remember, as you ask for the sale, you're actually helping your customers, right? If they don't buy your cleaning service, they might go to somebody who does an awful job. So eventually, you've got to ask them to finalize a transaction. Don't assume they're just going to volunteer you their credit card. As you get used to asking those challenging questions, it actually becomes easy. Just be one of the people who are willing to go through the hard part until it becomes easy. That's just how life works, right? Lesson number 7, detach yourself from outcomes. And what that simply means is if you're talking to a potential customer and you're trying to sell something, you've got to fall out of love with the customer absolutely needing to say yes. You got to be okay with them saying no. And I'll explain to you why, but a no can sometimes be even better than a yes. Here's how. When someone tells you no, you get at least to understand what objections there are before they can finalize the transaction. You can learn more about that particular problem, or maybe it's just not the right fit, right? So if you're selling a cleaning service and the person says no because they only have $50 to spend, yeah, it's better they tell you no now, so you don't continue to waste more time on a customer that's not willing to spend the money required to get their house cleaned, right? So, or you learn, hey, the reason he said no is he's really afraid of all the chemicals used and he recently just had a newborn baby. It's good for you to understand and get that no early so you can explain to him, hey, we actually only use plant-based cleaning materials. That's one of the things that separates our cleaning service. So a no can be better than a yes because it can tell you what you need to add to your offer to make it more compelling, or to disqualify somebody who's just not a good fit for what you're doing. You've got to understand that what you're selling isn't going to be fit for everyone. And the sooner you realize that, and the sooner you can qualify and disqualify people, it will make your sales life so much more simple and easy and less stressful. And the reason I say a no can be better than a yes, because sometimes people will tell you yes, and in their mind, they're just afraid to tell you no, so they lie and tell you yes and say, yeah, I'll call you back later this week and we can sign up, and you'll never hear from them again. So I prefer to hear somebody tell me no so I can actually hear their objections rather than them lie to me and tell me yes and I never hear from them again. And if you've been in sales ever, or if you start selling, you'll come across that every once in a while. It's quite common, actually. Lesson number 8, find a template and use it. I want to tell you a quick story to explain what I mean by find a template. When I was 18, I started selling cars, and I was awful for like the first year and a half. I was so bad that the corporate controller came downstairs and told me, Dwayne, we just got in trouble. You're making less than minimum wage because of the number of hours you're working and how few cars you're selling, and we're gonna get in trouble. So you gotta start selling cars or you're gonna have to leave. That's how bad I was at selling cars. So I did something dramatic. I talked to the #1 sales guy in my dealership and I told him, hey, any customer that comes in here for me, I will split the deal with you 50-50 as long as you help me close it and you let me be in the room while you're closing it. I did that for a month and a half, gave away half of my commissions for a very long time. Excuse me, a month and a half, which feels like forever in sales. I gave away my commissions for 1 month and a half just so I can learn how my #1 guy was doing it. And after a month and a half, you better believe it, I finally learned a system. I finally learned the questions that he was asking, how he was talking to customers, and I quickly learned how to sell cars much faster. Eventually, I became one of the top salesmen at one of the biggest Hyundai dealers in the entire country, all because I found a template. When I say a template, I found something that I knew for a fact was working and used it. I heard him close customers for me, and I started using his stuff verbatim. I even started talking like him. He was like a middle-aged Italian guy, and I started sounding like a middle-aged Italian guy after a while because I was that committed to figuring out what he's doing that I wasn't doing. So anyways, I hope you use these lessons, take them down. My name is Dwayne. If you want to learn more about sales, on my channel, I talk all about how to get better at sales and even how to find jobs in tech sales. Thanks for watching. See ya.